Yo, what's up guys? It's Noah here, and in today's video we're going to be breaking down the NBA slate on Draftkings and Yahoo for Wednesday, November the 10th. We have an absolutely massive slate tonight. We got 13 fucking games to go over. We're going to go game by game, guys. We're going to talk through each of these 13 games. Now, since it is such a big slate, I am going to do my best to try and go through these games quickly. I'm gonna definitely fly through some games because they're just gonna be some teams that I really don't have much interest in, and we'll obviously, I'll obviously say that. There will be more teams though there'll be some teams we do spend more time on. There'll definitely be some plays I like from certain teams that we'll talk through, but we're gonna go game by game, guys. Break this slate all the way down. And then as we do go through each game, we'll kind of build out an early core, 4 or 5 guys that I do like at first look. Now this is just a first look, guys. These are my first looks of the slate on Tuesday night. I'm sure we're gonna have news come out during the day Wednesday. I'm sure there's gonna be some guys that get ruled out. There's already some key players questionable that we're gonna have to keep an eye on. So if you guys want more updated content from me, if you enjoy these first look videos, but you want to see more of my updated content, I do give out updated core plays. I provide my rankings, which list off my top 20 plays of the day in order, from interest. So, my number one play, number two, guys I have the most interest in, the best value plays are usually ranked at the top. My favorite studs are usually up there as well. I do my positional plays as well, where I list off my favorite plays at each position, highlight them as, core plays. Maybe guys you only would use in GPP. Maybe guys like a dart throw. I try and rank those as well. Then I have a Discord chat you can join where I'm able to answer any questions you have. I'm in there throughout the day to answer any of your guys' questions. Even after lock, if you have questions, if you have to make swaps in your lineup, I can always answer those as well. So I do have a lot of additional content on Patreon. If you want to check that out, it's linked down below in the description. You can also check out Prize Picks, linked down below in the description. They are the sponsor of this video. For those of you that are new here and maybe have not checked out Prize Picks yet, check them out, guys. Use promo code NOAH when you do sign up for Prize Picks. They're more of a player prop DFS site, so you're basically just picking the over or the under on their projections. You're not having to play against other players. You're not having to go up against sharks or whatever you want to call them. It's basically just you versus the projection. So you look at their projections, you see what they have to offer. They don't have anything posted yet for Wednesday's games, but I'm sure late Tuesday night they'll get some stuff posted. Early Wednesday morning they'll have more stuff posted, and you basically can take a look, see what you like, go over or under, and you can win up to 10x your money over on Prize Picks. So if you want to check them out, guys, use code NOAH, and they will match your first deposit, give you a free bet up to $100. But let's go ahead and start off, man. Let's go ahead and start off with the Wizards and the Cavs game. And we're going to start off on the Washington side. So for the Wizards today, there really isn't a ton I like here. Bradley Beal, I think at 9,500 is playable on this slate, but there are just so many stud options. I will say that a lot of these studs got priced up today. I think DraftKings kind of did that for a reason, priced up all the studs because they knew there was going to be value. But Bradley Beal, his price tag really didn't move. I still think he's just, not really someone that I'm that interested in. The rest of the Wizards, I think, are priced for what they, for their role. I mean, they're all priced correctly. So there's nothing that stands out from Washington. Now, in Cleveland, I do like a decent amount from Cleveland. So with Lauri Markkanen and Kevin Love still out, we're seeing massive minutes for both Jared Allen and Evan Mobley. Jared Allen's played, 34, 39, 40, 35 minutes the last 4 games, been very productive. Evan Mobley's played almost 40 minutes in like 4 straight games, 40, 40, 38, 36. Great matchup against the Wizards. I like both these guys quite a bit. I don't think, they're going to stand out as like core plays. I think they're priced correctly for this slate, but they are still in play for me. I do like them quite a bit. And then the guards, with Colin Sexton out, Darius Garland, Ricky Rubio, I think both look like good options as well. Garland at 6,600. His price didn't go up that much. He's still only 6,600. I think his upside definitely increases with Sexton off the floor. I think his usage should go up a little bit as well. I'm assuming they're going to stagger Garland and Rubio so that, one of those guys is on the floor at all times. In a good matchup against Washington, I think, Darius Garland without Sexton is definitely someone we can look at in the mid-range. And then Ricky Rubio is for sure my favorite play from Cleveland. 5,200 on DraftKings and pretty affordable on Yahoo as well. $22 over there. Without Colin Sexton, I'm assuming they start Rubio. Rubio played great last game, played 31 minutes, put up 61 DraftKings points. I'm not expecting 61 DraftKings points from Rubio today, but I think the minutes are obviously going to see a big increase. I mean, even with Sexton healthy, Rubio has still been playing big minutes off the bench, and now he's going to probably play 35, 36 minutes today. Great matchup against the Wizards. Rubio's always been a pretty productive player when he gets minutes. He's just underpriced today. I think he really stands out from this Cleveland team, but the Cavs are definitely a team I do like quite a bit. Allen, Mobley, Garland, Rubio, I think are all firmly in play, even on a big slate like this. Next game, though, Brooklyn and Orlando. Not one I have much interest in. On Brooklyn, KD and Harden are both in play. Without Kyrie, they're going to dominate the usage. I will say that both those guys have been a little bit more inconsistent this season, especially Harden. We've seen Harden just kind of be up and down all year. KD is coming off a big game. I think KD's fine here. But neither one of these guys are priorities for me. And on the Orlando side, everyone on Orlando feels priced about right. Cole Anthony's almost 8K, Mo Bamba's 7K, or almost 7K, Wendell Carter's 7K. Like, I think these guys are priced for where they should be. Cole Anthony obviously has a big ceiling, can put up 50 plus DraftKings points, but I'm not going to play him on a big slate like this. Same with Wendell Carter, same with Mo Bamba. This is a game I just think I don't really have that much interest in. So next one, Toronto and Boston. On the Toronto side, with Pascal Siakam now back, he played his first game. Last game, he didn't play full minutes. He only played like 25 minutes. They obviously, limited him a little bit. He's going to keep getting more minutes, though, as he just keeps playing more games. With Siakam now back, that's just going to take away from guys like OG, Van Vliet, Scotty Barnes, Gary Trent. I don't really have a ton of interest in the Raptors. I think they're all priced where they should be. If not, some of them are overpriced now that Siakam's back. I will say Van Vliet at 7,600 is still fine. His ceiling in a matchup against the Celtics may not be that high, but we know Van Vliet's going to play massive minutes. We know he's going to get a lot of, ball handling opportunities. With Kyle Lowry no longer on the team, Van Vliet does have a lot of upside. I would prefer that, Siakam not be back because I think Van Vliet's upside is higher when Siakam is off the floor. But at 7,600, Van Vliet can put up 50 DraftKings points here. I think he's my favorite play from Toronto if I had to play anyone on this team, but I'm not really that high on many Raptors today. I don't think so. Or other side here, looking at Boston, definitely some plays I like on Boston today with Jaylen Brown out. Jaylen Brown going to be out for, I think, 1 to 2 weeks. So with him out, Jason Tatum's going to be the guy that, really dominates the usage on the Celtics team. And we saw that last game when Jaylen Brown was out. Played 38 minutes, had 57 DraftKings points, took 19 shots, 32 points, 11 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 block, 2 steals. I know the price tag's up there for Tatum. He's 10,400, but we're going to talk about it. All the studs, like I said earlier, they all got priced up today. So, everyone's expensive, at least at the top. So even at 10.4, I still think Tatum's a really good pay-up option. I think he goes a bit overlooked as well. I don't know if he's going to get a ton of ownership on a big slate like this. I think for the most part, ownership is going to be spread out today. So Jason Tatum, I do like as a pay-up option here with Jaylen Brown out. And I like him a lot on Yahoo. I think he really stands out on Yahoo, only $41 at the small forward position. I think he's the best, probably him and Jimmy Butler are my 2 favorite small forward plays. I think those are guys that definitely stand out on Yahoo. If you're paying up a small forward on Yahoo, I think Jason Tatum looks great over there. So I like him a lot. I think Al Horford, at his price tag, I'm probably off of. Dennis Schroeder is definitely my second favorite play from Boston. He started last game without Jaylen Brown. He's going to continue to start while Jaylen Brown is out. Played 39 minutes, had 34 DraftKings points. I think if this was a different slate, Dennis Schroeder would be like massive chalk today. But I think because it's such a big slate, because there's so many other guys that are underpriced, I don't think Schroeder gets a ton of ownership. So he is a really good play at 6,100. I don't know if he'd be a guy that I would play like in my single entry, my one lineup, but definitely would have him in my player pool. He's for sure my second favorite play from Boston, behind Jason Tatum, and then that's it from this game. So next one, Detroit and Houston. Not one I'm really that high on, not a game I have that much interest in. On the Detroit side, I think Cade Cunningham at 5,200 is firmly in play. Cade Cunningham has been someone that we've kind of all played lately. He's just been underpriced these last few slates, and I think he's probably underpriced once again today. He's going to play probably 30 to 32 minutes, maybe even more. He's been pretty inconsistent this season. He has not shot the ball that well, but I would say that if there was ever a spot for Cade Cunningham to like finally break out and have a big game, against Houston, this god-awful team, this is definitely a spot where Cade Cunningham should be able to have a lot of success. Houston's a terrible defensive team. They're just a really bad team in general. Definitely like Cade Cunningham from this Pistons team, but that's really it from Detroit. Now on the Houston side, for the most part, this team feels priced where they should be. Christian Wood, revenge game, 9,200. I just don't know if I can pay that for Christian Wood on a big slate like this. But there's obviously some upside for him. It's a really good matchup. It's a revenge game if you want to look at that too. He's going to be super, super low owned. I think he's worth a shot. I think he's a dart throw you could go to. If you're playing 150 lineups, I think I would have Christian Wood in my player pool. I would definitely sprinkle him in. But there's no standout plays from Houston. We're going to need to keep an eye on the status of Kevin Porter Jr. He is currently questionable. If he gets ruled out, I think that would benefit a guy like Jalen Green. Jalen Green's been super inconsistent this season, but I think his opportunity would definitely increase without KPJ. And then I'm assuming that If KPJ does not play, DJ Augustine would draw the start. DJ Augustine is minimum salary, 3K. We haven't seen him really play many minutes this year, but obviously without KPJ, if he were to be out, Augustine would most likely start, would most likely play around 30 minutes, and he's minimum salary. The matchup against Detroit's really good. So definitely some plays I could see going to from Houston if KPJ gets ruled out. But if Kevin Porter Jr. plays, I'm not too high on this Houston team at all. There's just not much that really stands out here. So next game, Milwaukee and New York. Looking at the Milwaukee side here, it is a back-to-back for the Bucks, so keep an eye on the injury report, but I'm assuming everyone's going to be good to go. Giannis at 12-3, very, very heavy or high price point, I guess you could say, for Giannis, but I mean, he's been like the most consistent stud, I think, so far this season. He's got the highest upside. He's got the safest floor as well. We know Giannis is going to play big minutes. The Bucks have been losing a lot of games this year. Like, they need to win games, so they're going to play Giannis big minutes if it's a close game. The matchup against the Knicks may not be ideal, but Giannis is going to get probably 36, 37 minutes here if it's a close game. He's got massive upside. He's one of the safest studs almost every single night, and on a big slate like this, I mean, you can't go wrong with Giannis. I will say that you do have guys like Tatum for $2,000 cheaper. You have guys like LaMelo Ball. You've got, the Lakers guys playing without LeBron. Like, there's obviously a ton of other studs you could play. But Giannis is definitely going to be towards the top of my list, even on a big slate. Drew at 6,500. Without Middleton, I think Drew's going to get more opportunity. But on this slate, he's probably priced where he should be. I don't think I'm going to really go to Drew. I think he's still playable because the upside's definitely there without Middleton. But there's definitely guys for cheaper that I'd be going to, like Rubio, Garland. I think I'd rather play over Drew. But Drew's still fine. Bobby Portis, though, is probably the standout play for Milwaukee, assuming that Brook Lopez is going to be out again. He was out Tuesday. We're going to need to keep an eye on his status. Assuming Brook Lopez remains out, I mean, 5,500 for Bobby Portis. I'm just going to keep playing Bobby Portis until DraftKings raises his price to where it should be. He had another massive game on Tuesday night. He was very popular, but he was a clear play, and he's just underpriced once again. He's underpriced on Yahoo too. Sucks that he's a center over there, but $14 for Bobby Portis. I mean, yeah, I'm definitely going to be playing him on Yahoo. Started again, played 35 minutes, had a double-double, 41 fantasy points. The game before that, he started, played 30 minutes, had 47 fantasy points. Bobby Portis is a point-per-minute player. Now that he's starting, it's clear they're going to play him big minutes. He should get 30 to 35 minutes, obviously assuming Brook Lopez is out. The matchup against the Knicks may not be ideal, but I think Bobby Portis is a really good play today, assuming that, Brolo remains out. Bobby Portis and Giannis are definitely my favorite plays for Milwaukee. I think Drew's in play, even though I don't love him. And outside of that, I'm pretty much, that's it for the Bucks. Now on the Knicks side, Julius Randle in tournaments, I do have some interest in at 10,300. I don't think he gets a ton of ownership on this slate. He hasn't really been someone that's been popular at all this season. He seemingly is like low owned every slate. And with 13 games today, like not many people are going to play Julius Randle. So I do like him a good amount in tournaments. I could see doing like a Giannis, Julius Randle kind of correlated little mini stack. Just in a scenario where this game is high scoring, it's competitive, and these guys play their full minutes. You do have a lot of upside for both those guys. Julius Randle did have a really good game against the Bucks earlier this year, 58 DraftKings points in 33 minutes. Definitely have some interest in him in tournaments. And then the only other Nick I would be considering is Taj Gibson. So Mitchell Robinson and Nerlens Noel are both questionable right now. If they both get ruled out, I mean, Taj Gibson is literally like the only other center that they have that I think they would give minutes to. You would probably see Taj Gibson start at center, and then you would probably see Julius Randle be like the backup center, I guess. Or maybe, Gibson would sub out early, and then when Randle has to come out, they would bring Gibson back in. So you would see a lot of minutes for Taj Gibson. I mean, Taj Gibson, minimum salary, 3K. I think he would be one of the best value plays on this slate if Noel and Robinson are both out. He played 31 minutes last game after Noel got injured. Robinson was out last game as well, so I think we should expect like 35, 36 minutes here for Taj Gibson if we get no Noel and no Robinson. So those are two very important injuries we're going to have to keep an eye on. Taj Gibson for minimum salary would be a top value play, and he's power forward eligible on DraftKings, which would obviously make him a lot easier to fit into lineups because you would have a lot more flexibility, in your roster with playing him. So yeah, that's probably it from the Knicks though. Next game, the Mavs and the Bulls. So on Dallas, for me, it's Luka, and that's it. I'm not playing any other Mavs or even considering any other Mavs on today's slate. Luka himself has not been great this season. He has definitely been inconsistent, but obviously still has a ton of upside. The matchup against the Bulls may not be ideal. The Bulls, so far this year, they've been playing pretty slow. I thought they were going to be a pretty fast-paced team this season, but let me check the pace so far this year. So far this season, the Bulls have been where are they at? Where are the Chicago Bulls? I want to say they've been like a pretty slow-paced team. They've been, 17th in pace. I know they've been really good defensively. The matchup for Luka's not ideal, but Luka is definitely, a top stud every night. I will say, though, that this year he has been a lot more inconsistent. I do feel better about guys like Giannis, even Tatum I think I like for cheaper, but Luka's obviously in play. He's for sure my favorite play from Dallas, but that's it from this Mavs team. And then on the Bulls side, I haven't really been on any Bulls this year, and on a 13-game slate, I don't think I'm going to be playing any of these guys except Zach LaVine. I think it's 7,600 on DraftKings. Zach LaVine is definitely too cheap. He was 8,600 last slate, and his price dropped $1,000 for God knows what reason. Zach LaVine has been consistent this year. We haven't really seen much of a ceiling from him. The only game he's put up this year over 50 DK points was their first game of the season. It's going to be tough for him to really put up those massive games because he's having to share the ball with Vooch and DeMar DeRozan and Lonzo. But at 7,600, that price tag is definitely too low for Zach LaVine. He's for sure my favorite play from Chicago. Luka's my favorite play from Dallas. But that's it from this game. It looks like Kobe White is going to play today. He's been cleared to participate in full contact. So Kobe White could be back for this game. So keep an eye on that. That could maybe hurt a guy like Lonzo. But I wasn't going to play Lonzo anyway on this slate. That's it for this one. Next game we'll go ahead and talk about is Charlotte and Memphis. Now, this is one that is super, super appealing because both these teams have been relatively fast-paced, especially the Hornets. Hornets are playing fourth in pace this season. The Grizzlies are about middle of the pack, but we know they're a team that can push the ball at times, especially with Ja Morant running the show. So LaMelo in what should be a fast-paced game against the Grizzlies. I like LaMelo a lot in tournaments. I think at his high price tag at 10K, I just don't think people are going to roster LaMelo at 10K. And he's definitely worth this price point because he's been getting big minutes lately. The minutes have finally been a lot higher. They've been a lot more consistent. He played 37 minutes in regulation. Last game against the Lakers, played 42 minutes total, after overtime. Put up nearly 70 DraftKings points, had a triple-double. LaMelo's got triple-double upside. He's got 60-plus point upside. I like him a lot in tournaments. I think he's going to be really low-owned on DraftKings. I think he's going to be somewhat popular on Yahoo, but he definitely stands out a lot more over on Yahoo. He's only $38 over there. That's just too cheap for LaMelo, especially now that his minutes are getting back to where they should be. He's the same price tag as Ja Morant. I think he's cheaper than Dame. He's cheaper than Dejounte Murray. Definitely give me LaMelo on Yahoo at $38. He really stands out over there. Still like him on DraftKings, though, even at 10K. But that's it from Charlotte, I think. Miles Bridges, I'm not going to play at 8,100 today. Hayward, Rozier, Plumlee, I just don't have that much interest in these guys either. LaMelo is definitely my favorite play from Charlotte. And on the Memphis side, it's a really good matchup. Charlotte's been playing at a really fast pace. They've been really bad defensively. But I just don't know if I'm going to go to any of these Memphis guys where they're priced at. Ja Morant has obviously a lot of upside, but I would rather play LaMelo. Dylan Brooks could be back today. Dylan Brooks is questionable. If he plays, that's just going to take away from guys like Melton and Bane, so I would be off of them. Triple J might be my favorite play from Memphis. Great matchup here for him against Charlotte. This is definitely one he should be able to have a lot of success in. It's just, can Triple J stay out of foul trouble? If he stays out of foul trouble, he's probably going to play 30, 32 minutes. He definitely has upside at 6,100, but on this slate, he feels priced probably right where he should be. If I had to play anyone from Memphis, though, it probably would be Jaren Jackson Jr. Next game, though, we'll talk about OKC and the Pelicans, the New Orleans Pelicans. This is one I'm just kind of full fading, honestly. Everyone on OKC is priced where they should be. Nobody stands out from the Thunder. SGA obviously has upside, but he's almost 9K. I'm not going to pay almost 9K for SGA. The Thunder are a full fade for me, and the Pelicans, they're kind of a full fade as well. Joe Val is somebody I'm very high on. I play Joe Val a lot. I played him a lot this season. At 9,100, though, I think his price has now gotten to a point where he's not just a free square, a guy you have to roster. I still think he's in play because he does have a lot of upside, and he should be able to dominate against this Thunder team. J-Val is my favorite play from the Pelicans. He's my favorite play from this game in general. But Brandon Ingram is questionable. He could be back for today. If Brandon Ingram plays, that takes me off of guys like Devontae Graham and NAW and Josh Hart. So it's really just J-Val from this game, and that's it from this one. Next one, though, Kings and Spurs. Another game I'm not that interested in on the Kings side. De'Aaron Fox, obviously, he has upside, but he's just been so inconsistent this season. I couldn't imagine playing De'Aaron Fox on a 13-game slate with how bad he's been this year. Just too many other plays I prefer. Tyrese Halliburton's questionable again. He was out last game. We saw Buddy Hield draw the start, play around 30 minutes. We saw Davion Mitchell get increased run off the bench. If Halliburton's out again, Buddy Hield would be playable, Davion Mitchell would be playable, but they're not really standout plays at their price tags. And overall, there's not a ton of standout plays from the Sacramento team. And that same could be said for the Spurs. Dejounte Murray, been great this year. I do like the matchup a lot against Sacramento. Definitely a good spot for Dejounte Murray. But at 9,700, I think he's priced where he should be. I would rather play someone like LaMelo. I'd rather play like Tatum and some of these other studs we talked about over Murray. And I'm not playing any other Spurs on this slate. So, yeah, that's it for this game. Next one, definitely this is one we're going to spend a lot of time on, especially on the Denver side. But on the Pacers side, there's nothing from the Pacers I like. Malcolm Brogdon is expected to return today, so that's going to take away from guys like TJ McConnell. It's going to take away from guys like Karis LeVert, so they're pretty much out of play for me at their price tags. Sabonis, I think, is priced where he should be against Denver. You know, without Jokic, I think it is a better matchup for Sabonis than you may think, but still doesn't really stand out as like a top stud today. Brogdon himself could maybe be playable at 7,500. I mean, Brogdon has shown upside when he's healthy. He has shown 50-plus point upside. It was an illness, so I'm assuming that he'll be like full go. Usually, when guys come back from an illness, they're usually like not limited. So maybe you could play Brogdon, but overall, I don't love much from the Pacers. Now on Denver, this is where we get a lot of plays that I like. So Denver is just going to be super, super shorthanded today. No Jokic, no no Jokic, no Jamal Murray, no Michael Porter Jr. So that leaves like Will Barton, Aaron Gordon, Monte Morris, PJ Dozier, Campazzo, like they just don't have anyone. Will Barton, I expect, is going to dominate the usage without Jokic, without Murray, without MPJ. I liked Will Barton a lot last slate with MPJ out, and he had a massive game. 45 Draftkings points, played 35 minutes, took 14 shots, had 5 rebounds, 6 assists to go along with his 25 points. Will Barton has shown upside, especially in these scenarios where he's like the only guy left and he's the guy that like soaks up all the usage. And I expect he just soaks up all the usage today without Jokic, without MPJ. At 6,300, like I don't mind paying this price tag for Will Barton because I think he has 45, 50-point upside. He's going to play a ton of minutes. The matchup against the Pacers, I think, is pretty good. So far this year, the Pacers, in terms of pace, where is Indiana at? They're about middle of the pack in pace. In terms of defensive rating, the Pacers are 24th in defensive rating. So they've been bottom 10 in defensive rating this season. They've been about middle of the pack in pace. But really, even outside of the matchup, it's just the increase in opportunity, the increase in shot attempts, usage that Will Barton's going to soak up without Jokic and without MPJ. Too hard for me to pass up. So love Will Barton on both sides. Definitely my favorite play from this Denver team. But we can look to some of these other guys too. I mean, Aaron Gordon, ever since he arrived at Denver, like he has not shown any fantasy upside at all. His fantasy value just took a massive hit whenever he went to Denver. But now with no Jokic, I mean, Will Barton, obviously, but Aaron Gordon is going to have a lot of opportunity. I think we do see a good game from Aaron Gordon today at 5,200. I think Aaron Gordon is definitely in play on the slate. I haven't played Aaron Gordon at all this season, but I think he is a really good play today. I think Monte Morris gets a big boost too. I mean, Jokic being out is just so massive because Jokic is such a high usage player. The ball just is in Jokic's hands all the time when he's on the floor, that when you get him off the floor, it's just going to allow for these other guys to, produce. I mean, get shots up, get rebounds, get assists. Like, they're just all going to be able to produce at a lot higher rate. They're going to play a ton of minutes. For 4,400, I think Monte Morris is a really good value. And then I'm assuming that JaMychal Green starts in place of Jokic. JaMychal Green most likely will start at center, probably going to play at least 30 minutes, if not more. JaMychal Green has just been like Jokic's backup this year. But when he's gotten minutes, he's been relatively productive. He's kind of been a pretty productive player in the past. Whenever he was on the Clippers, when he's been on the Grizzlies, like he has shown some upside. He's been close to a point per minute player. For 3,200, I think we get 30 minutes, if not more, from JaMychal Green. I think they're going to need him out there against Miles Turner and against Domantas Sabonis. He looks like one of the better cheap values on this slate. So really like JaMychal Green on DraftKings, especially because you can roster him at power forward and center. He is cheap on Yahoo too, but he's a center only on Yahoo, which sucks. He's the same price tag as Bobby Portis. Like, I would just rather play Bobby Portis. But on DraftKings, I really like JaMychal Green, assuming he starts for Jokic. And then even some of these bench guys, like there should be more usage available off the bench for guys like PJ Dozier. Jeff Green started last game. He should start again with MPJ out. So he could be playable at 3,400. Bones Highland should get some increased run off the bench and increased usage. So he's in play too. But my favorite plays from Denver are definitely Will Barton, Monte Morris, Aaron Gordon, and JaMychal Green, assuming he starts for Jokic. I think all four of those guys are really good plays today. And even Jeff Green, Bones Highland, those guys are playable too. There's going to be a lot to like from this Denver team. It's going to be really hard to just completely avoid Denver. They're definitely a team you're going to have to get some exposure to. I would think that, like, if I was playing 150 lineups, I want to say that at least every lineup would have somebody from Denver in it. There is definitely a good possibility you see multiple Nuggets in the winning lineup on this slate. So, yeah, really, really like this Denver team. Definitely a team I wanted to spend a good amount of time on. But let's go ahead and finish up, guys. We got 3 more games. We're going to fly through some of these. Portland, on today's slate, there's nothing that stands out from Portland. Dame in tournaments is going to be super, super low owned. He's fine. CJ McCollum was 7,200 on Tuesday's slate. He's 8,500 today. I'm definitely going to be off of CJ McCollum now that he's 8,500. Nurkic, I think, might be a decent play. Without DeAndre Ayton, I think Nurkic should be able to dominate against Frank Kaminsky and against JaVale McGee. He's going to be like 1% owned. So maybe Nurkic would be my favorite play from Portland, but overall, Portland's not a team I'm really that high on. And on Phoenix, all these guys are just priced so high that I'm off of Phoenix too. Devin Booker's almost 10K. Like, there's no fucking shot I'm paying 9,800 for Devin Booker today. No shot I'm paying 9K for Chris Paul. Without DeAndre Ayton, we know there's going to be increased minutes for Kaminsky and McGee, but Kaminsky's 5K now. JaVale McGee's 4,200. Like, these guys don't really stand out as much on a big slate like this, where there's just so many other better plays from other teams. So overall, Phoenix and Portland's just kind of a full fade for me. Minnesota, Golden State, I think there are some plays you can go to here. Karl-Anthony Towns in tournaments, I do like. I think he will be very, very low owned. But Towns, I know in the past, has done really well against the Warriors. I think this is a matchup Towns can definitely win in. Whether they're putting Kevon Looney, Draymond's a really good defender, but Draymond, I think, is definitely undersized when it comes to defending Towns. So I definitely like Towns in tournaments. I think D'Angelo Russell, he came back from injury, played 41 minutes, so there was no limit for him. He got a ton of run against Memphis. If we get like 35, 36 minutes, if he plays his normal minutes today, I think D'Angelo Russell in a revenge game against Golden State, like, he is definitely in play too. Those are my 2 favorite plays from Minnesota. And even like Patrick Beverley, I wouldn't mind for 4,300. He's going to probably play around 30 minutes. He played, 29 minutes last game. He started last game. I think he's playable. I think they're going to need his defense against Steph, but really my 2 favorite plays from Minnesota are Towns and Russell. Then on the Golden State side, for me from Golden State, it's just Curry and Draymond, and that's it. Curry is coming off an absurd game last game where he put up 86 Draftkings points, played 35 minutes against Atlanta. I mean, he literally couldn't miss. 14 for 28 from the field, 9 for 19 from 3, put up 50 points, 7 rebounds, 10 assists. Just an unreal game from Steph. I mean, Steph has that kind of upside. He is definitely he does have a lower floor, compared to guys like Giannis and some other studs we've talked about. Like, his floor is definitely lower, but we know the ceiling is there. We know Steph can just go out there and break a slate. When his shots fall in, I mean, he's just going to keep shooting. He's going to dominate the usage on this Warriors team. He is definitely in play. He might get a little bit more ownership than he probably should since he went off last game, but he's still a good option. Minnesota has been playing really fast this year. This should be another very fast-paced game. Minnesota, so far this season, they're 11th in pace. The Warriors are, where are the Warriors at? The Warriors are 5th in pace. So, yeah, both these teams are top 11 in pace this season. Definitely a good spot for Curry. Draymond is as well in a fast-paced game. He should be very, very low owned on a big slate like this, but we know Draymond has triple-double upside. We know he can stuff the stat sheet. I do like him as a low-owned tournament option. But that's it from Golden State. And last game of the night, Miami and LA. We'll go ahead and get through this one, guys, before we wrap things up. So Miami is definitely a team we're going to have to keep an eye on when it comes to the injury report. Big injuries here. Bam Adebayo, Tyler Hero, both questionable. PJ Tucker also questionable as well, but I don't think that one matters as much. The big ones, though, are Bam questionable and Tyler Hero questionable. So assuming that Bam and Hero both play, I think the only guy I really like, or 2 guys I guess that I like from Miami, is Butler and Bam. Butler just at 9,600. He didn't really get that massive price bump that a lot of the other studs did. Like, you saw a lot of the studs on this slate got priced up like $800 to $1,000 from what they were the previous game. Jimmy Butler only went up $300. I like the matchup a lot against the Lakers. This should be another fast-paced game at least. It's a pace-up spot, I would say, for Miami. Miami has been playing really slow this year. They've actually been playing at the 3rd slowest pace in the league, but the Lakers have been playing at the 2nd fastest pace, so it's a big-time pace-up spot for the Heat here. The Lakers have been really bad defensively. Jimmy does have a lot of upside here at 9,600, but if we get a scenario where Bam and Hero are both out, then I think Jimmy's probably one of my favorite pay-up options on the slate. I think Kyle Lowry would become a really, really good play as well. I would expect Butler and Lowry would dominate the usage if Bam and Hero are out. And then Dwayne Dedmon would be one of the best value plays on the slate if Bam is out, because Dedmon would start in place of Bam. He would probably get around 30 minutes. We saw him start earlier this year when Bam was out, but he was in severe foul trouble. I think it was this game against Memphis. He only played 17 minutes. He was in foul trouble, but he still scored 23 DK points in 17 minutes. He's always been a pretty productive player when he gets minutes. If Bam's out, I would love Dwayne Dedmon as a value play. I think I would probably play Dwayne Dedmon over JaMychal Green just straight up. But, on DraftKings, JaMychal Green has power forward eligibility, so you could play JaMychal Green and Dwayne Dedmon together, which is probably something you would want to do. Dwayne Dedmon would be a top value play if Bam's out. Lowry and Butler would be great plays if Bam and Hero are out as well. But that's it from Miami for me. Then on the Lakers side, with LeBron still out, Westbrook and AD I think are both in play. I will say this is a really tough matchup. Miami, they've been playing really slow. They've been one of the best defensive teams in the league. But we know Russell Westbrook and AD both have a ton of upside. Westbrook's coming off a triple-double against Charlotte, 41 minutes in overtime, 60 DraftKings points. AD had a massive game against Charlotte, 44 minutes in overtime, 68 DraftKings points. Both these guys can put up massive games here. The matchup may not be ideal, but I think AD and Westbrook are firmly in play. They would probably be towards the top of my list. I think I would put them behind maybe Tatum and Giannis and maybe Jimmy Butler. Definitely if Bam's out, I would put them behind Jimmy Butler. But Westbrook and AD are very strong pay-up options here just because the entire Lakers offense is going to run through those two guys. They both have a lot of upside. But outside of the top two guys there, I'm not playing Melo. I'm not playing Bazemore or Dwight. I'm just not playing any other Lakers. So that's it, guys. We got through all 13 games, man. Let's see how long this video is. We got through 31 minutes. Hey, that was pretty good. I was expecting for it to take 40, 45 minutes, but we got through it a pretty reasonable time. I hope you guys enjoyed this quick breakdown. I tried to go, as quick as I could, make this video as brief as I could, but still give you guys a lot of information. Hope you enjoyed, though. I appreciate you watching. Click that like button if you enjoyed. Click that subscribe button as well if you have not yet. And check out the sponsor of the video, guys, PrizePicks. One last time, if you want to sign up for PrizePicks, use promo code NOAH. They will match your first deposit up to $100. You can check out their board for Wednesday's NBA games. You can see what they have to offer for NFL if you want to get some stuff down for NFL this Sunday or for Thursday Night Football. I know college basketball is starting up. If you're into college basketball, they do college basketball as well. You can take over or under on players' point projections, rebounds, assists. They have college football, NHL. They have every sport. PrizePicks has every sport. Very simple. Just pick the over or the under on the projections they have listed for each player, and you can win up to 10 extra money on PrizePicks. So if you want to check them out, guys, again, use code NOAH when you sign up. They'll match your first deposit up to $100 when you sign up with my promo code. But good luck tonight, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. Be sure to tune into the live stream. I'll be live, a couple hours before lock as usual, answering all your guys' questions, breaking down the slate once again. If any news comes out throughout the day, we can always touch on that in the live stream. So be sure to tune into that too. But good luck tonight, guys, and thanks for watching. Peace.